We'll get into Tiger a little bit later, but as for Spieth, he's 1 under through 3 holes, 12 under overall, 1 behind the leader, so tied for 2 currently. We'll see if that historic run continues.
Ho-hum.
And he hoists the Clare. As for another looming outcome, this one in the NFL, the Deflategate saga continues. A ruling is expected any day, and a source with knowledge of the situation anticipates the outcome will be a sham. According to Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, Pats wideout Julian Edelman weighed in on how Brady is handling the situation. He's, quote, fired up. We'll say that. You don't want a mad Tom Brady. He's a little ticked off. Brady on a mission, Stephen A. Smith. Never a good thing. How will this play out?
Well, listen, here's the reality of the situation. For most of us, I've been on the record. Skip and I disagree in terms of the punishment because I think it was valid. Obviously, Skip did not think so. And obviously, he's hell-bent on this notion that Tom Brady is going to fight to the death. He's not going to accept any games in terms of a suspension for Deflategate. My position is clear. I think Deflategate, in my opinion, is much ado about nothing. I don't give a damn if Tom Brady was throwing Nerf footballs out there. It didn't stop the Patriots' greatness. It didn't stop him from ramrodding the Indianapolis Colts in that AFC Championship game, outscoring them 28-0 in the second half. It didn't stop any of that from transpiring. So the greatness of Tom Brady is not to be brought into question. But that's from little old me, who did not play in the National Football League. When you talk to players present and former who go against the New England Patriots or have gone against the New England Patriots, and I have spoken to many of them, they feel emphatically different about it. They feel that he tried to gain a competitive advantage. They thought that he was relatively unfair, and that they were all happy that the NFL has been willing to bring attention to his apparent transgression. But in the end, I was glad because on Mad Dog Sports Radio, where I have my show every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jamie Dukes, you know, for the NFL Network, former NFL player, friend of mine, great guy, by the way. Your former colleague, colleague at the NFL Network as well, Molly. Jamie pointed out on SiriusXM this weekend, he kept reminding us, and I'm going to echo his sentiments, Tom Brady wasn't suspended for, deflated footballs. Tom Brady was deflated for not cooperating with the NFL in the NFL's eyes, according to Troy Vincent, according to Commissioner Goodell. So as a result of that, the chances of Tom Brady having a suspension completely eradicated, to me, is slim to none. Can I see a reduction from 4 games to 2 games? Yes, I can. Skip Bayless, I was on the record on my radio show saying that even though one has absolutely positively nothing to do with the other, and there are others who would make the argument about the integrity of the game and all of this other stuff, you cannot have Tom Brady serving the same amount of suspension time as Greg Hardy. Because even though one has nothing to do with the other, because the suspensions in terms of the time allotted would be equal, both of them having 4 games, you can't do that to Tom Brady. You have to reduce that suspension. But outside of that, as long as the NFL maintains consistency, that he was primarily suspended because we had an investigation and we don't believe he was cooperative, and that is not a game that we are playing, I don't think that you get the 4-game suspension completely omitted and eradicated. I think it gets diminished to 2 games, but I think that that's about it. And they're going to lean on the fact that he was uncooperative, which is what I believe the player was alluding to when they said that it would be a sham, because the league is going to lean on his uncooperative ways as justification. And I don't think Tom Brady can fight that.
You keep harping on he wasn't cooperative. Could you please?
They said that.
Yeah, they said that, but you're hanging on to that.
Yes, I am.
I want to define. Ultimately, I hope this does go to court and we get to define what uncooperative was, because Tom Brady's going to speak out on this. He's holding his tongue until it really counts in a court of law, although he did go through the appeals process. Again, source I think close to him is saying it was a sham process. But to me, if you're innocent, cooperating doesn't mean saying, yeah, you got me on that, and you got me on that, and yeah, you got me on that. I just think he sat there and said, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything that you said that I did, that this report found that I did. So if that's uncooperative, I'm okay with that. And I'm going to stand by what I have told you from day one of this. And I'm not saying I told you so, but he's going to fight this to the legal death. That's where this is heading. And I think I was a little ahead of the curve saying that on this show. And in the end, I do believe it could have been a shrewd move. Maybe it'll prove to be a shrewd move by a commissioner who was under fire for the way he did or didn't handle the Ray Rice situation and many domestic violence situations before Ray Rice. I think he chose as his target to sort of reassert his authority and his power, his strength, the golden boy, Tom Brady, clean as a whistle to date, and said, hey, I'm going to take him on and I'm going to, quote unquote, take him down on Deflategate just to show I'm still in charge and I'm going to reassert my position, which a lot of people were wondering about his position. I wondered about his position. Should he continue as the commissioner? Well, he chose, I think, the wrong guy to pick a fight with. You said Brady should have stood up and spoken out publicly from the first. He did not do that. You held that against him all along. He didn't take his opportunity, obviously, when he did his speaking engagement. Where was it? Salem State or whatever? Salem? Whatever
Salem State, yeah, Massachusetts with Jim Gray, yes.
Yeah. And he didn't take his opportunity even before the Super Bowl to stand up and say, no, I didn't do it. I'm saying he was biting his tongue to take it to court. The NFLPA is now on the record. They will help him take it to court. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out, because if Tom Brady's legal team has made it clear to Goodell's legal team, we are going to go to court with this. I'm not sure Roger will reduce this at all. He might just hang right in there with 4 games because it won't do much good to reduce it. My initial thought was he'll reduce 2 games, maybe 1, maybe 2, just to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and you make a great point about Greg Hardy. But in the end, I think Brady and company, legal team, just biding their time, waiting, because they're going to try to get an injunction to allow him to play in game 1 this year if, in fact, he's suspended for 2 or 3 games.
Well, let's be clear about a couple of things here. You need to be clear about what do you mean fight to the death, because we all know that Tom Brady is going to fight. We all know that he's not going to be satisfied unless all 4 games are eradicated and he doesn't get to miss a game this season. We understand that. But at the same time, Skip, if you're not saying that Tom Brady is going to retire unless this suspension is completely eradicated, then he ain't fighting to the death, because the death of his football career would be retirement. And boy, would it be a devastating blow to Roger Goodell and the National Football League if Tom Brady stood up and said, you know what, I am completely innocent of this. The hell with all of y'all. Go kick rocks. You want to sully my name to this degree and hand me a suspension? I officially retire from the game of football. If Tom Brady were to do something like that, Roger Goodell's reputation would never recover from that. It would be that much of a devastating blow, in my opinion. Having said all of that, I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that Tom Brady does that. Tom Brady is not going to sit. He can fight till the cows come home. He is not going to sit there, the way I feel, he's not going to sit there and walk away from the game of football because he has to miss 2 games. So let's understand that. And once we understand that, all we're saying is Tom Brady is proclaiming his innocence. My point to you, Skip, is forget the public. Even though I thought that his press conference Super Bowl week was ridiculously embarrassing and what have you, or leading into Super Bowl week, rather, the fact is, forget us. How about the same person that showed up to the appeals process should have been the same person that showed up during the investigation? Whatever he did during the appeals process, he was far more forthcoming then, according to the reports, than he was when the investigators showed up to Foxborough or wherever they showed up to talk to him. Ted Wells opined about that, as well as Troy Vincent. So the lack of cooperation that Tom Brady initially gave is clear and apparent, because that is clearly something that they're not accusing him of now, that Roger Goodell heard his appeal over that 10-hour period he showed up in New York. That same Tom Brady has showed up initially we probably wouldn't be here discussing this the way that we're doing it now. He brought this on himself. It appears so anyway, because of his arrogance, period.
Totally disagree. But I must add, Molly, before we go, I do agree with what Rodney Harrison said, that now Tom Brady, when and if he plays, and I assume it will be a when he plays, he'll get an injunction, then play this out to its legal end in court. I believe he will be on a vendetta of a mission this year to get even with the National Football League. Here come the Patriots.
You know why that means absolutely nothing? Y'all act like this dude is some scrub or some great player on a scrub team, and then all of a sudden he's going to show up with a vengeance. He's the reigning defending Super Bowl champion. What's he going to do? What's he going to do that he hasn't done? He's throwing for 4,000 yards. He's throwing touchdowns. He's winning Super Bowls. He's winning Super Bowl MVPs. What exactly is there to fear that he hasn't shown you already? I mean, come on.
That's like exactly
that's
a lot of people think
he going to win more?
Yeah, a lot of people think the Patriots are in trouble without Revis and Browner. Who's going to play quarterback?
But they're not questioning the greatness of Tom Brady. We know what he's going to do. So that's like a knockout artist, and you going in the ring with him. Oh, he's going to knock you out now. Well, what the hell was he coming to do to begin with? If he's a knockout artist, it's what he does. Tom Brady is a Super Bowl champion. He's Super Bowl MVP.
Wait,
okay? What's he going to do?
Are you picking the Patriots right now to win it all this year?
No.
There you go.
No.
I just might be.
A little extra bulletin board material. He's focused,
Hold on,
man.
I didn't pick him to win last one. I didn't pick him to win this one. They should have lost if Pete Carroll doesn't make the worst call in Super Bowl history.
Let's
you should have lost that one.
Let's not go there. We're not done with Brady, though, Skip. And that paper right there, there's some rankings that came out, and you might be surprised where he lands. We'll discuss that coming up. And we also have a point guard on the move. We'll make sense of that trade in the Wild Wild West up next. And thanks for starting another sports week with us. Plenty of topics for us to get to on this Monday. Stay on track with today's show topics. All you have to do is go to our Instagram page, where you can also leave your takes. Hit us up on IG.